Enter Humanity, the giant that was asleep. Part 1. The Awakening. The sky over Seoul turned a strange purple that morning. Dr. Daeho looked up from his coffee, frowning at the unusual color. His phone buzzed with messages from the lab. Something had happened with their quantum experiment overnight. 20 minutes later, he stood in his laboratory staring at the readings. His team had accidentally created a ripple in space-time, the world's first faster-than-light signal. This can't be right, he muttered, checking the equipment again, but the data remained the same. His assistant, Hana, rushed in, face pale. Dr. Daeho, you need to see the news. On every channel, reporters showed the same thing. 7 strange objects entering Earth's atmosphere. They weren't meteors or satellites. They moved with purpose. The world held its breath as the objects slowed and hovered over major cities. Seoul, New York, London, Beijing, Moscow, Cairo, and Rio de Janeiro each had a visitor. They came because of us, Daeho realized. Our experiment, they detected it. 3 days later, Daeho found himself in a hastily assembled meeting room with government officials and military leaders. Earth's nations had quickly formed a united front to deal with the visitors. The door opened, and 2 beings walked in. They looked almost human, but their skin had a blue tint and they stood only about 4 feet tall. Their eyes were large and completely black. I am Real, ambassador of the Galactic Confederation, the first alien said through a translation device. This is my assistant, Tev. The room fell silent. First contact. It was really happening. We detected your quantum pulse, Real continued. It is unusual for a species to discover faster-than-light communication before mastering interstellar travel. President Suk leaned forward. We were simply conducting research. We didn't know anyone was listening. Real's face made a movement that might have been a smile. The galaxy is full of listeners, President. Your signal was like turning on a light in a dark room. Over the next few days, the aliens shared information about the Galactic Confederation, a loose alliance of 17 spacefaring species. They had been watching Earth for centuries, waiting for humans to discover FTL technology. Daeho was invited to the Seoul landing site to examine the alien vessel. As he boarded, he noticed how everything seemed built for smaller beings. He had to duck through doorways and couldn't fit in any of the seats. You are quite large, Tev commented. Most sentient species evolved to be much smaller and less dense. Is that a problem? Daeho asked. It is merely an observation. Your planet has high gravity and many environmental challenges. It created stronger beings. A week later, Earth sent its first delegation to the Confederation's nearest outpost, a space station orbiting a star just 12 light-years from Earth. Ambassador Taimin led the team, which included Daeho as scientific advisor. The humans towered over every alien species they met. Even the tallest aliens barely reached Taimin's shoulders, and that wasn't the only difference. During a tour of the station, an accident caused a pressure drop in one section. While the aliens panicked and rushed for breathing equipment, the humans merely felt uncomfortable, but remained functional. Your species can survive conditions that would kill most of us, said the station commander with something like fear in his voice. Back on Earth, humanity began to understand its place in the galaxy. They were not the most advanced, but they were among the most physically capable species known. They call us the Giants, Taimin reported to the United Earth Council. They're fascinated by how quickly we've advanced despite our isolation. But I sense something else too. Concern. They see our potential and it frightens some of them. Daeho's team worked with alien scientists to improve Earth's FTL technology. In 6 months, they had designed Earth's first true interstellar vessel. As Daeho watched the ship being constructed, Hana joined him at the viewport. What do you think will happen now? She asked. Everything changes, he replied. Humanity was sleeping, dreaming of the stars. Now we're awake and the galaxy will never be the same. Little did they know how right he was, or how soon humanity's strength would be needed. Humanity, the giant that was asleep. Part 2, First Steps Among Stars. Captain Sunmi watched from the bridge as Earth grew smaller in the view screen. The UES Pathfinder, humanity's first true interstellar vessel, accelerated toward its FTL jump point. Her crew of 30 represented nations from across Earth, united in this historic mission. "Jump calculations complete, Captain," said Navigator Jiho. "We're ready when you are." Sunmi took a deep breath. "Engage FTL drive." The stars blurred, then stretched into lines. A moment later, the Pathfinder emerged near Alpha Centauri, mankind's first controlled faster-than-light jump. The crew cheered, but Sunmi quieted them quickly. "We have work to do. Let's show the galaxy what humans can accomplish." Their mission was to visit the Confederation outpost at Alpha Centauri and then continue to the Confederation diplomatic station at Epsilon Eridani. There, they would meet representatives from all 17 member species. When the Pathfinder docked at the Alpha Centauri outpost, Chief Engineer Jin led a team to inspect the ship's systems after the jump. A small alien with green skin and 4 arms approached him. "Your engine modifications are fascinating," the alien said. "According to our science, they shouldn't work so efficiently." Jin smiled. "Sometimes the impossible just needs a fresh perspective." The alien engineer, who introduced himself as Mekt, examined the human FTL drive with growing amazement. "You've achieved 128% of what our theoretical maximum suggests is possible. How?" "We didn't know it was impossible," Jin replied simply. "At Epsilon Eridani, the human delegation caused quite a stir. The diplomatic station's corridors had been built for much smaller beings, forcing the humans to duck through doorways and sit on the floor during meetings. Ambassador Yoon addressed the Confederation Council, her head nearly touching the ceiling as she stood. "Humanity comes in peace and friendship. We have much to learn but also much to share." During the diplomatic reception, disaster struck. The environmental controls malfunctioned, filling the chamber with a gas toxic to most species. Aliens began collapsing, gasping for breath. The humans, though uncomfortable, remained conscious. They quickly organized, carrying the affected aliens to safety and helping repair the ventilation system. Later, Diplomat Bong overheard 2 alien representatives talking. "Did you see how they remained standing? That gas would have killed most of us in minutes. Earth's atmosphere contains similar compounds in trace amounts. They've evolved resistance. What kind of planet produces such resilient life?" Bong smiled to himself. Humans had always taken Earth's challenges for granted. Now they were learning just how tough their homeworld had made them. The Confederation scientists were equally impressed by human cognitive abilities. During a cultural exchange, a game tournament was organized. Game Master Ho found himself facing the champion of the Zir species in a complex strategy game he had just learned that morning. "Your ability to recognize patterns and adapt to new rule systems is remarkable," the Zir champion said after Ho won their 3rd match. "Most species require extensive training to master new concepts." Not all impressions were positive, however. During a tour of the station's museum, the humans saw displays of ancient conflicts between Confederation species. The wars seemed small-scale and formalized compared to Earth's bloody history. When an alien historian asked about human warfare, Captain Sunmi tried to downplay it. But the historian had already accessed Earth's public historical records. "Your species has fought wars that consumed entire continents," the historian said, his voice quivering. "You've developed weapons that could destroy your own planet." "We've learned from those mistakes," Sunmi replied. "Peace came at a high cost." The historian looked unconvinced. That night, security around the human quarters was quietly doubled. As the Pathfinder prepared to return to Earth, Ambassador Yoon received a confidential message from the Confederation High Council. "They've given us provisional membership," she told the crew. "But I heard a new term being used when they thought I couldn't hear. They're calling us the Sleeping Giants." Sunmi looked out at the stars. "Let's hope they never give us reason to fully wake up." Unknown to the humans, a new threat was emerging at the edge of Confederation space. The Cathari Empire had begun expanding again, and reports of their hive mind warriors overrunning border outposts were just reaching Confederation intelligence. Humanity The giant that was asleep. Part 3. The Galactic Threat Admiral. Hyun stood before the holographic display, her face grim as she watched the attack footage again. The Kithari swarm ships moved in perfect formation, overwhelming the Confederation defense station with sheer numbers. "Play it again," she ordered. "Slow it down at the 30-second mark." Her aide, Lieutenant June, adjusted the controls. The footage slowed, showing the insect-like Kithari vessels shifting patterns just before the Confederation ships fired. "There," Hyun pointed. "They're not reacting to the attack. They're changing formation before the Confederation weapons fire." "How is that possible?" June asked. "Pattern recognition. The Kithari hive mind can process battlefield data faster than individual commanders. They're predicting the Confederation's moves based on standard tactics." 6 months had passed since humanity's first diplomatic mission to the Confederation. In that time, Earth had built 5 more starships and established its first colony on Proxima Centauri II. Meanwhile, reports had been coming in about a new threat from the galactic rim. The Kithari Empire had begun an aggressive expansion. "The Confederation doesn't understand what they're facing," Hyun told the Earth Defense Council later that day. "Their species evolved through cooperation, not competition. Their military doctrine lacks adaptation." President Min leaned forward. "And you believe we can do better?" "Humans have fought wars for thousands of years. We understand unpredictability as a tactic. The Kithari rely on patterns. That's their weakness." The council debated for hours. Earth was still new to the galactic stage. Many felt they should follow the Confederation's lead rather than suggest their own strategies. That changed 3 days later, when the emergency alert sounded. Kithari forces had bypassed Confederation defenses and attacked the human colony on Proxima Centauri II. The colony's 10,000 inhabitants had little warning. General Q watched the live feed from Earth's orbital defense platform. The colony's small security force fought bravely, but was quickly overwhelmed by the Kithari warriors. 6-limbed insectoids that stood as tall as humans, but moved with terrifying coordination. "They targeted us specifically," Q realized. "They're testing our strength." Within hours, Earth declared war on the Kithari Empire, independent of the Confederation's response. Admiral Hyun was given command of Earth's small but growing fleet. "We can't match their numbers," she told her captains. "But we don't need to. We need to disrupt their pattern recognition, force them to fight as individuals rather than a collective." Captain Doe, a former game theorist, developed what he called chaos protocols, battle formations that changed randomly, defying prediction algorithms. Engineer Song created electronic warfare systems designed to introduce subtle errors into the Kithari hive mind communications. The Confederation representatives were skeptical of the human strategies. "Your species lacks the technology to defeat the Kithari," said the Zir ambassador. "Your tactics go against all established military doctrine." "That's exactly the point," replied Hyun. "The Kithari have studied your doctrines for centuries. They've never encountered ours." 1 month after the colony attack, Earth's fleet intercepted a Kithari force near the Barnard star system. The human vessels deployed in seemingly random formations, their movements unpredictable even to their own commanders, who received new orders every few minutes. The Kithari swarm faltered, their perfect formations breaking as they failed to predict the human attacks. For the first time since their expansion began, a Kithari battle group was forced to retreat. News of the human victory spread quickly through Confederation space. Observer Minho, who had been sent by the Confederation to monitor the human response, filed his report with a single notable line. "The sleeping giant awakens. The Kithari have no concept of what they've done." In their hive mind structure, the Crow, Kithari could not comprehend the human concept of vengeance. They had attacked the colony as a simple test of strength, not understanding that humans would respond with such focused determination. As Admiral Hyun prepared Earth's fleet for a larger counteroffensive, she received an unexpected visitor. The Supreme Commander of Confederation forces, a being so ancient its species was nearly extinct, came to Earth personally. "Your people fight like none we have seen," the commander said. "We have defended for centuries. Perhaps it is time we learned to attack." Hyun smiled grimly. "The Cathari thought they were testing our strength. Instead, they've awakened something that has slept for too long." The battle near Epsilon Ridge marked the first major conflict between human forces and the Cathari Empire. Captain Yoon watched from the bridge of the UES Thunderbolt as her fleet deployed in what appeared to be complete disorder. No two ships followed the same pattern, confusing the Cathari targeting systems that relied on predicting enemy movements. "They can't understand what we're doing," Yoon said, watching the enemy formations falter. "Their hive mind expects patterns." The human vessels darted between the larger Cathari ships, firing at weak points that human analysts had identified in previous battle footage. Unlike Confederation ships that attacked in organized waves, the humans struck from multiple angles, simultaneously. "Captain, the Cathari are changing formation," reported Tactical Officer San. "They're attempting to surround us." Yoon smiled. Just as Admiral Hyun predicted, execute Chaos Protocol 3. The human fleet suddenly scattered in all directions, then regrouped in a completely different arrangement. The Cathari ships, caught mid-maneuver, couldn't adjust quickly enough. Within minutes, 3 enemy vessels had been disabled. After the battle, a captured Cathari commander was brought before human intelligence officers. The insectoid being's mandibles clicked nervously as it spoke through a translator. "You do not fight with honor," it said. "There is no order to your attacks, no proper sequence." Colonel Wu leaned forward. "In human warfare, the only honor is in victory." News of the human tactics spread quickly through Confederation space. Many species initially dismissed the human methods as primitive and disorganized, but as the Cathari continued to lose engagements against the smaller human fleet, attitudes began to change. Engineer Jun found himself suddenly in high demand as Confederation species sought to modify their vessels with human innovations. The Pathfinder, Earth's first starship, had been remarkably durable by Confederation standards. Now Jun applied those same principles to the Allied fleet. "Your ships prioritize efficiency," he explained to a group of alien engineers. "Ours prioritize survivability. We assume things will go wrong and build accordingly." With Jun's modifications, Confederation vessel survival rates increased 3-fold. Soon, mixed crews of humans and aliens began operating together, combining the best qualities of each species. Meanwhile, on the ground, human Marines proved equally disruptive to Cathari tactics. On the contested world of Tantus V, Marine Commander D led a special operations team through the planet's toxic acid storms. While the environment required special suits, humans could tolerate the exposure far better than other species. "The Cathari believe no one can attack during an acid storm," Day told his team. "That's our advantage." The Marines moved through the corrosive downpour, their modified suits allowing them to function where no other species could survive. They struck the Cathari base from behind, breaking the enemy's flank and forcing a retreat across the entire southern continent. As word of human successes spread, more Confederation species began adopting human tactics. What had started as Earth's private war had become a turning point for the entire Confederation. Admiral Hyun met with the Confederation War Council, no longer as an observer, but as a key strategist. The council chamber, designed for much smaller beings, had been hastily modified to accommodate the human giants. "The Cathari fight as a collective," Hyun explained. "But that's their weakness as well as their strength. Cut off parts of the hive mind, isolate their units, and they become confused." The Supreme Commander nodded slowly. "For centuries we fought defensively, trying to predict their movements. We never considered that unpredictability itself could be a weapon." As the combined human Confederation fleet prepared for its first major offensive, a Cathari transmission was intercepted. Translated, it contained a single warning sent to the Cathari homeworld. "The giants have awakened fully. They do not fight as civilized beings. They thrive in chaos and bring death from impossible angles. We require new directives." For the first time since the war began, The Kithari Empire appeared to be afraid. Earth had become the center of Alliance manufacturing. Director Yu supervised thousands of workers as they integrated human innovations into Confederation technology. The massive shipyards orbiting Earth's moon produced vessels unlike anything the galaxy had seen before, combining human durability with alien advanced science. "We've completed the modifications to the Allied fleet," Yu reported to Admiral Hyun. "The new shields can withstand Kithari acid weapons, and the engines incorporate June's efficiency improvements." After 2 years of war, the tide had turned against the Kithari Empire. Pushed back on multiple fronts, they had lost nearly a third of their territory. Yet their hive mind remained determined, directing swarms of ships in increasingly desperate attacks. The final phase of the war began with a bold plan. Fleet Commander Seo proposed a direct assault on the Kithari homeworld, something the Confederation had never dared attempt in centuries of conflict. "The Kithari Queen controls the entire hive mind network," Seo explained to the War Council. "If we can isolate her, the Empire's coordination will collapse." The Allied fleet gathered near the edge of Kithari space, over 300 vessels including 60 human ships. The plan relied on human unpredictability combined with Confederation technology. "We'll use random jump coordinates calculated by human navigators," said Seo. "The Kithari defenses are designed to predict standard jump patterns. They won't expect us to appear directly in their inner system." On the day of the attack, Navigator He closed her eyes as she made the final calculations. The jump equations ignored the standard safety protocols used by Confederation ships for centuries. It was dangerous but necessary. "Jump coordinates locked in," she announced. "May fortune favor the bold." The Allied fleet vanished from normal space, reappearing moments later scattered throughout the Kithari home system. The defensive grid, expecting attacks from the system's edge, couldn't adjust quickly enough. The human vessels led the charge, their modified engines pushing them deeper into the gravity well toward the Kithari throne world. Enemy ships swarmed to intercept them, but the human-designed formation kept changing, impossible to predict. Aboard the flagship, Commander Seo watched as the plan unfolded. Begin electronic warfare, disrupt their hive mind communications, signals. Officer Mi activated the human design system, flooding Kithari networks with contradictory information. On the screens, enemy formations began to falter as individual ships lost their perfect coordination. The battle raged for hours, the Allied fleet fighting its way to orbit around the throne world. Finally, a transmission came from the surface. "They're requesting terms," reported Communications Officer Dong, surprise evident in his voice. For the first time in their known history, the Kithari Empire was surrendering. Their queen had recognized the inevitable defeat and chosen survival over annihilation, a concept alien to their culture before encountering humans. 2 weeks later, Ambassador Ji stood in the ancient throne chamber as the Kithari Queen signed the peace treaty. Representatives from all Confederation species witnessed the historic moment. "We were asleep, but now we're awake," Ji told the assembly. "Humanity brings with us Earth's greatest lesson, unity forged through diversity." In the years that followed, the galaxy transformed. The reformed Confederation incorporated the Kithari as members rather than subjects. Human colonies spread throughout friendly systems, bringing their unique perspective to galactic affairs. On the 5th anniversary of the peace treaty, a new Confederation capital was inaugurated. A massive space station designed to accommodate beings of all sizes and environmental needs. The station's central chamber could hold the smallest Zir and the largest human with equal comfort. Admiral Hyun, now retired, stood beside Ambassador Ji as they watched ships from 24 species dock at the new station. "They used to call us the Sleeping Giants," Hyun remarked. "What do they call us now?" Ji smiled. "The Bridge Builders. They say we connect what was once separate." Below them, in the main concourse, humans worked alongside former enemies. Kithari engineers had begun incorporating human adaptability into their designs. Confederation scientists studied Earth's harsh environment for insights into survival. The galaxy had gained new guardians in humanity. Not conquerors, as some had feared, but protectors who understood both peace and war. The awakened giant had changed everything, and the stars themselves seemed brighter for it.